Good morning, everyone. It's Rabbi Joshua Hoffman at Valley Beth Shalom Synagogue in Encino, California. Wishing you a beautiful day in Southern California, and hopefully wherever you are watching this, as it begins to warm up here. Hopefully the warmth brings not only a lot of inspiration inside of us personally, but also brings a lot of health and warmth to the world around us, because we need it so desperately. And I wanted to share a few words of thoughts with you with my coffee, which is totally kosher, and a little bit of consideration for our day, because it's Wednesday and the week is not yet over and so much has already happened. It's hard to believe that it's Wednesday. It feels like it's been an entire universe of life and experience over the past 2 days. And there's so much yet left to discover in this week. And what I'd like to share with you today is about a concept that I think is important. It's in our daily prayers, and it's something that we also really are trying to adjust to. We might do so reflexively because of our isolation, and we're trying to figure out what to do. But the idea is about creativity and being creative. And in our prayers daily, we say HaMechadesh B'Tuvo B'Chol Yom Tamid Maaseh Bereshit. Every day, creation is renewed in goodness. And the idea that each day, Mechadesh, is that something that perhaps might have already been in existence is refashioned. There's a refashioning that takes place in our lives each and every day. And it's that process of refashioning that gives us a sense of inspiration, and in the words of the prayers, even a little bit of words of praise. And there's 3 things in particular that I wanted to share that I've been watching on Facebook, where we're broadcasting right now. And for those who are watching Facebook regularly, you notice 3 trends. There's 3 trends that have been persistent. And anybody who watches Facebook knows that there's trends that kind of appear and disappear within a couple days, and it feels like it's the rage, and everybody wants to be doing whatever it is that's happening on the Facebook screen. But these 3 things have been persistent. I even thought that they were going to kind of disappear, and even just yesterday, still seeing how much this has really had impact on us. The 3 things that I'm talking about are 3 disparate ideas. They are puppies, challah, and Shabbat. So maybe you've been watching, as I have, as some family shares with delight and surprise some tiny creature wriggling in their arms as they welcome a new member of the family into the home. And in this period of isolation, it seems kind of like bizarre, right? It's like that old story with the rabbi where the man is like just fed up with all the noise in his house, and the rabbi tells him to go bring in more animals into the house until he can't stand it anymore. And then after removing all of the house, there's still the same chaotic sounds, and the man kind of sits back with peace and says it could always be worse. So the idea of like bringing new life into the house may sort of like add to the chaos, but I want to reframe it differently. I think it's beautiful. I think it's this idea that we have the capacity to care in a time when it seems like the world has asked us to isolate ourselves, and the ways that we've been accustomed to caring have had to shift, whether they've been expressed virtually or we've actually done this, where we brought in new life into the house so that we can take care of a new creature. Or even better, that we've learned to take care of each other better. That when those things happen, that what we're learning from this, and what I think people are learning when they're bringing in puppies or animals, my God, I saw a sheep and a goat. People are doing all kinds of things to bring new life into their homes. That we're remembering that we can care for each other. And how amazing it will be if we could take that care and transform that into the world beyond. Because there are so many places that need our care and concern in the world. And whether they're the ones that have been persistent, like those who are hungry or without shelter, or those who are suffering from illness, or there's the things that we've been dealing with in the past couple of weeks, people who have been victims of systemic injustice, and it's time for us to raise our voices and to lift up our arms and to march with our feet and to go out into the world and to try and correct the wrongs that continue to persist even in our day. Puppies can teach us that it's important for us to take care of each other. The second thing that I've noticed, and I'm sure that you've noticed it too, is the profundity of bread baking. Maybe in particular challah, but I think there's been just as many expressions of sourdough bread and all kinds, and bagels and donuts and all kinds of baking goods that people are proudly displaying on their Facebook feeds for all of us to savor, to wet our mouths, and to delight in. And the idea behind it is twofold. One is, it's this thing that I think we're discovering in a time where perhaps our typical behaviors have been limited. And we can't go to work the way that we've used to go to work. We can't interact with our friends the way we've been interacting with our friends. And so that has kind of like prompted in the empty space for us to do things that we thought we would never be possible to do. And alongside everybody baking some bread has been a wonderful expression. I couldn't believe I did this, and look at what I made. And as much as that is like a beautiful thing, first of all, that says you can do something that you never thought you were capable of doing if you try. That is a very, very powerful realization about being creative. Creativity is something that perhaps is inhibited within us because we don't think that we can accomplish the goal. We're afraid of rejection, or we're afraid of failure. Whatever things that we do that prevent us from being creative, those are things that this bread baking has taught us is totally possible. And the second thing that I think is important out of bread baking is that when you create a masterpiece, you have to have taste testers. You can't really determine if what you've done is really worthwhile until you share it. And I think that that's an important piece of this. As beautiful as it is to accomplish the feats of baking bread, of putting the ingredients together and watching the dough rise and then pulling it out of the oven and marveling at what has been created, it's all in what is being shared that makes it so beautiful and precious. And so I'm sure that those who have been bread bakers, challah bakers, donut bakers, bagel bakers have enjoyed as much of the sharing as they have as the pride and accomplishment of what they've been creating. And the third thing that is demonstrating extraordinary creativity is Shabbat. Since we've been in our isolation, we've been safer at home, as we call it in California, we've been quarantined, as whatever you want to describe it, the immense transformation of religious community into the online space has really been astounding, and it has been uplifting, inspiring. So as a rabbi, for me, typically I'm the one who's on the other side of the bima, and I'm watching to make sure that our prayer as a community is happening. I'm the facilitator. But because of our own isolations, and because there's been opportunities for me to tune in before Shabbat begins in our home here on the West Coast, I've been able to watch all across the country colleagues and communities gathering together in the virtual space to celebrate Shabbat. And while the sound cannot be synchronized yet, in which all of us can sing together, the idea that we're collectively experiencing a religious moment is truly, truly inspiring. And what I think that it teaches us, just like the caring from the puppies, the sharing from the challah, the Shabbat gives us a sense that when we are creative, when we transform our circumstances into something positive and bring each other together as we desperately need to do as human beings and as communities, it's in this quality of praise. It's in this lifting up and recognition that what exists is worthy of gratitude and of praise that makes our own creativity so meaningful. In other words, HaMechadesh b'tuvok b'chol yom tamid ma'aseh b'reshit. When we say that in Hebrew, when we pray that each and every day God renews creation, what we're saying is, with pride and praise, is that perhaps all the creativity that was in existence there has been cast in such a way that we can see it anew. And in that new perception, in that new light, in that new way, in that new sight, creativity isn't something taken from nothing, but it's actually a rediscovery of something that's always been there. We've always had the capacity to care. We've always had the capacity to share with others our creations. And we've always had the capacity to lift ourselves up in praise. So, while I can't recommend to you to go get a puppy, or if you already have some creature living in your house, to go get another one, I can recommend to you that the kind of care that it takes for another is possible with us even in this time of isolation, and find that place in your world in these coming days. And if there's something that you have always thought you weren't capable of doing, with this kind of new opportunity, a little bit of extra time in your life, take that opportunity and try to discover a new skill. And finally, if you have that recognition that creativity is possible within you, that sharing that creativity is possible within you, then join others, join us, join our communities in words of praise on our Shabbat, whether it's at Valley Beth Shalom or anywhere else where you find the many, many communities gathering together to Shabbat, to lift up your voices in song, to express your gratitude, to be able to say with full heart and expression, each and every day, creation renews itself, and it renews itself inside of you as well. I wish you all a great day. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your week. Please join us for all the great learning opportunities at Valley Beth Shalom, and we'll see you there soon.